and this is my 2020 goals for this channel and reading wise. So personally, I like my makeup actually, and I thought about putting on some uh pink lipstick like Fenty, and it's the Stunning Lip Paint, but I feel like it's gonna be too much for this look, so I'll look for a different color later. Anyways, so some of my goals are still the same. For example, I want to read more poetry, and I actually got a notebook downstairs that's actually full that I printed out different poetry so I can analyze and break it down and all that other stuff. So maybe if I could maybe I could, help myself read more poetry by maybe reading one poetry per month and see how that goes. If not, then I'll probably break it down into like maybe two per month because poetry is short, right? And I'm not talking about poetry collection, I'm just talking about poetry in general because, like I said, probably 2 years ago when I started this channel, like I remember my poetry unit back in high school, and I found it so fun to not only discuss the poetry but to break it down on your own and see what other people found in that poetry, what this could possibly mean, the symbols and all of that. Like I truly admire the art that is poetry because it takes a lot to say a whole lot of stuff into just a few short sentences. So I feel like I want to read more and maybe break it down, but maybe I'll show you throughout the month how that goes. But that's one of my goals. A goal that also remains the same is a Game of Thrones. Y'all know how it is. So I already told y'all probably a few videos ago that I am slowly removing my mass paperback Game of Thrones series with the paperback version so I can because I'm tired of the mass paperback. I want to write in my shit, and there's not that much stuff to be writing in. And sure, I could have a notebook if I could have a notebook dedicated only to Game of Thrones, that'd be great. But that's a lot of writing. Why do that when I could have the mass paperback with enough margins in there, plus sticky notes and all that other stuff. So I've actually 6 hours and 20 minutes into the first book of the Game of Thrones series, and I'm 4 hours and 20 minutes into Fire and Blood, which is the first book of Targaryen of Targaryen history. That's the first book of that series. And I've already finished Duncan Egg, the one with the knight that's like a collection of all three of the books. And I know that he says that he's coming out with another collection of Duncan Egg, and that features when Egg is king. I forgot his real name. He's a Targaryen. Either way, I know I finished that. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that I finished something technically short, and I'm starting something in big. And I think I'm having a lot more fun with Fire and Blood, even though it's like a fake history book, mainly because I feel like it's like, how can I describe it? It's like, I don't know. The Targaryens are so interesting to me. So, and maybe it's because I've already been spoiled for the entire show. Well, not almost the entire show. There's certain details I'm missing out. There's certain details I'm forcing myself to forget. And because I mostly forgot maybe certain details in certain seasons, I'm able to rewatch this out. I will rewatch the season up to the point that I forgot where I was in season 5 or something. But yeah, stay away from YouTube channels dedicated to Game of Thrones. I'll recommend them down below because they really analyze some of them, but sometimes they let things slip about certain details, both in the book and also in the series, when they're talking about the writers, because I know so many people who are fans of the book and the shows, they're very disappointed in the writers. And some of the tea, honey, the tea, the tea that I'm hearing about these writers is wow, juicy and shady. Wow, I'm I too would be disappointed in these writers, and I can understand why people are boycotting them so they won't do the prequel. Anyway, I'm getting carried away with this whole Game of Thrones things, but yeah, y'all know I want to read Game of Thrones, and that coincides with another goal of mine, which is to read 12 tomes. So basically, a tome is a book that is over 500 pages, and that's pretty easy to do because then I could easily read one tome per month. And since I plan on reading Game of Thrones, I could dedicate each month to Game of Thrones, or yeah, that. So, or another book that I'm trying to get into. But that's for the tomes. Another goal that I have is to read 12 classics. Now, here's the thing. I've been feeling each and every single year since high school to be reading more classics. And I'll leave Lenny's video down below. Her channel name is Books by Lenny's. She did a video dedicated to classics. And she poses the question, what really makes a classic? And I realized that, and even before then, I realized that I've been looking at classics from a white male point of view, and also a white female point of view. And the thing is, I'm actually going to create a list on Goodreads, so that way, because I already have a classics list on Goodreads, but I want a list dedicated to POC classics. Actually, I don't really need to because I always break it down by race and by the list. So sometimes when I'm in the mood to read from a black author, I'll be like, boop, right there. But yes, I realized that I've been looking at classics or thinking of classics as white very white, and I think that's why it steers me away from reading classics. Because it's like, oh my goodness, this is the same boring old white man, same boring white woman that I've been forced to read. Like, when are we gonna read some black classics? And I realized that, at least in my school, like, sure, it was there were very little classics by black authors that was on the list of classics that you could choose from for choice reading. And at the time, I didn't bother to read it up. I just like picked like the first few. But looking back now, when I have some old stuff from high school that I'm going through, and I'm looking at the list, I was like, there's not that many black authors that you guys listed for school reading. And even then, when they said that it was a choice, the teacher still chose for us what to read. So technically, I realized that until I got out of high school, that I realized that we had very little black writers, I mean black authors to read for, that we read for, that was required. In fact, the only one that was very prominent was Native Son, and that was 1 year in high school. And middle school, different story. Only in the short stories within the textbooks, but not really a full-fledged book that we read as a class. But yeah, I want to read more classics, and I feel like once I read classics that are from different countries, that's not predominantly white, I will probably have a lot more fun with it. And if I read more classics, like try to not think of classics as such a white thing. Like, for example, fantasy classics. I already have one fantasy classics. Ironically, it's by a white author, but I'm thinking about reading that as well. And also maybe mystery classics and something that's old as hell that is considered a classic within that genre or maybe within that culture. And I'm already thinking about a few classics from the Caribbean that I want to read. So I feel like once I change my mindset about classics, I will have a lot more fun reading classics. So there's that, about 12 classics. That's going to be difficult, y'all, for me. And I also want to read between 6 to 12 nonfiction books. So obviously the reason why I choose that range is I could read like a nonfiction book every 2 months, or I could, if it's a good month, read at least one per month. So there's that. And since all of these can like kind of mesh well together, I can like complete certain goals within like that, then I feel good about myself. And I also want to be able to read at least two books by black authors, or books with a black main character, not a side character, but a main character. And since that should be quite easy, because I feel like I already have a few books in mind. I already have a few books that I have on my list, and I realized that it wasn't until Blackathon that I realized that I've been needing and missing, more black authors and more black main characters in my life for a long time. So really I have Blackathon to thank for this goal, because and I'm so glad, because it also introduced me to different books. And since Goodreads, it's hit or miss when it comes for the recommendations, but ever since they noticed that I've been adding more black books, they've been adding new books that hasn't come out yet, but they're by black authors. So really, Blackathon is to be thanked for everything that's happening when it comes for reading wise. So thank you, Blackathon. Now then, another goal that I have is to make 3 to 4 videos per month. Now then, that's a lot. I feel like that's a good month if I could make 3 to 4 videos per month. So technically that's like a video per week. And maybe because I have like some ideas flowing through my head, I feel great about this goal. I already know that I'm starting school, so that's going to be an issue that might conflict with my schedule. So that's why I said on a good month. On a bad month, it's 2 at the most. That is it. Okay. So I feel confident because it coincides with some of my goals that I want to do, such as vlogs. I'm really liking the vlogs, and I also want to get into a lot more buddy reads this year. Oh my goodness, I tried to do a buddy read during probably in November for Fire and Blood, but at the time, early December, I lost my second mother, unfortunately. So I had to do the grieving process, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm still not, how should I say this? I feel very surreal about the whole death. So I'm not sure if I'll be honest, I'm kind of scared to go back to New York, because it's like, damn, I won't be able to really see her. So it's really hitting me. So yeah, I hadn't been able to like complete the buddy reads, but I would like to do more buddy reads this year. Another goal that has to do with reading has to do with Corinne Slaughter. Oh my God. Corinne Slaughter is everything to me now. I want to devour any and all Corinne Slaughter books that's available to my library, of course, because I'm not about to be spending all my money on books. I'm trying to slow down, okay? I'm really trying. And because I should also make it a goal to like read any and all books, that's in my ownership, as in stuff that I own, both Kindle and physical wise. But I know that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. That's why I'm going to be realistic and go to the library and try not to buy any more books until at least I think I should make it a personal goal at least to each time that I read a personal book of mine that I don't like, I should get rid of it so I can replace it with another book. I don't know how that sounds. I'm sure it's part of consumerism and all that other jazz, but I feel like that's a good idea. Instead of, buying books, finish reading the book that I own first. If I don't like it, as in like I don't like it and I see no point of keeping it, then get rid of it so that way someone else will enjoy it. So there's that. And then replace it with a book that I truly want. And I'm gonna have to like think deep about the books I want to read, because I'm not gonna lie. Recently, I have been buying books from the thrift store, of course, like Second and Charles, which is a used book place here. I feel like I've been buying books mainly because I want to write in them. Okay, and that's a bad idea because if I want to resell a book that I've been owning for a long time but still hasn't read, then I need to get rid of it. Period. But yeah, I want to devour any and all Corinne Slaughter books that's available at my library, because I'm trying not to spend that much money. What's next for me when it comes for Corinne Slaughter is definitely the Grant County series, because y'all, I finished my goal this year. Well, actually last year technically. And that is the Will Trent series. I finished it all the way up into one. And maybe I should do a video, but I feel like there are certain details for certain books that I'm missing out on when it comes for ranking them. I already know which ones are like my top three books within like the series, because she currently has 9 series. And I'm telling you, everyone, read the Real Trent series in order, because of course it has more to do with character development when it comes for reading them in order. Sure, you can read it out of order, but don't be like me, okay? Because I feel like I enjoyed it so much better if I had read everything in order. But yeah, but I want to read the Grant County series because one of the characters, Sarah, she's from the Grant County series, and there's events that was that you can tell that there are certain traumatic events that happen in Grant County series that occur in the Will Trent series that has to do with the character Sarah, and certain characters that show up in the Will Trent series later down the line that has to do with drama and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm so proud that I got to complete at least some of my challenges from last year. One of them is reading a lot more mystery, and I did that, and I'm so proud of myself and I'm so glad that I did, because mystery was something that I avoided unless it was like within maybe some video games, but even then I avoided that. And this year 2019 has been the year of mysteries for me, and I'm so happy. But yeah, that's it. I think that's all my goals for 2020. I'm sure that there's something else that I'm missing, but I'm pretty sure I'm probably like talk about it in like the comment section down below. But yeah, that's it. That's my goals. I'm really excited. Tomorrow's my birthday. Shout out to all the Capricorns out here. Okay, you're the best. I know we're the most underrated ones out here, but you know what you gonna do. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful year. I hope you guys have a fun time reading. But oh my goodness, how could I forget you guys? So my goal this year is to read 100 books. And I felt, and maybe because 2019 I completed 115 books in total, so maybe that's why I'm kind of hyping myself up for failure. But I'm pretty confident in that, and the fact that I ran out of room in my book journal, which I should like record and all that stuff, but like the fact that I ran out of room in my book journal, I'm so proud, because I never knew I would. I think because of YouTube that got me hyped up on certain books and all these readathons, and especially Blackathon. Shout out to Blackathon. Okay, Blackathon really elevated my reading, to be honest, and it really added a whole bunch of books on my radar. And I'm so glad, because yeah, Blackathon really is the ish. Okay, and I'm so glad because it made me discover other YouTubers as well, which then introduced me to more books that I wanted to read, which then of course made me finish my goal actually quite early. Y'all, I finished my Goodreads goal, because here's the thing: last year I had the goal of reading, I think, 60 to 80 books. I think it was 60 books. Yeah, it was 60 books. I wanted to read 60 books last year. And the fact that because of YouTube and Goodreads and all the Black YouTubers recommending me so many damn books, and also the fantasy YouTubers recommending me more books to read, and the fact that most of them are stuff that I'm interested in, and luckily for my library, I have a good library that has a good selection and also good audiobooks too, that I was able to read a lot more than I expected, and I'm so proud of myself. But yeah, I wish I could like show you my progress of what I did last year for 2019. However, the graph, I've been using Google Excel for Google Sheets for like keeping track of my books and the genre and all that other stuff, but I need to find a new system to keep track of all my books that I've read, so that way at the end of the year I can show you charts and stuff. But that's it. That's all, really. I hope you guys have a nice day. I hope you guys have a nice year, and if you are just like me, experiencing death and maybe are still grieving like I am, it gets better. Of course it gets better. I feel like it might take a few, I feel like for me, it might take a few years for me to like truly get over it, but I don't know. I just hope that you guys will find some solace and some happiness, okay? Have a good year and happy Capricorn season.
Read a book, read a book, read a motherfucking book.